Hello and welcome to the MAC weather page for this Wednesday, March 14th. In the headlines, we could have a major winter storm brewing for later next week. Still plenty of time for this to fall apart or to develop, but with something we're going to keep an eye on here over the next several days. It looks like it would be in the Wednesday, Thursday time frame of next week if it's going to happen. And the models are starting to come on board. They weren't on board at all yesterday until the Canadians started to show this system here at the 12Z run yesterday. Now all the models are starting to show something at different locations of different strength, and we'll keep an eye on that. But until then, it looks like calm before any storm if we're going to get one. And right now, I think the best bet is we'll see temperatures in the 30s right on through Friday. I think we'll get into the 40s over the weekend, maybe even mid to upper 40s, but certainly solidly into the 40s. So that'll feel nice with plenty of sunshine. And early next week, we could see some precipitation possibly moving in as early as later on Tuesday. But if we're going to see that storm, looks like it'd be mid to late week. Normal high is 42, or normal low is 24. You can see we got the 78.3 in 2012, which was an incredible stretch of weather. I think we had 7 or 8 record highs, including temperatures up in the mid to upper 80s in March. So pretty incredible back then. Yesterday we had a high of 32, a low of 24, no precipitation. And you can see for the month, 4.8 inches of snow, 43 inches so far for the season. Temperatures out there this morning, mainly in the low to mid 20s. And we're going to have temperatures today struggle to get into the mid 30s, and it's going to be breezy at least this morning. You can see on radar some of the snow showers now beginning to finally weaken, and they'll move out of the area as that last upper trough swings through the area. And if we look at the weather map, this will be for later on next Monday, and then we're going to keep an eye on a developing storm that's going to develop in the plains. Again, depending on which model this low is not necessarily in this spot, but once it gets into the central plains, we'll have to see which of the models will end up being correct, whether or not it tracks up into the upper Ohio Valley or drifts to the southeast like it had been. But the models have been trending a little bit farther north. In fact, a Canadian would bring up to 20 inches of snow as you get up towards Cadillac, and 17 for Houghton Lake. So again, this could be a pretty significant winter storm here late in the season as we get into later next week. But again, plenty of time to watch this potential storm. And I want to say just potential, doesn't mean we're going to get one, but it is something we're going to keep an eye on. As far as the 7-day precipitation up through about Tuesday of next week, you can see very little precipitation across much of the MAC and LAC areas, so we should dry down. And you can kind of see where that earlier storm track for later next week was trying to take this precipitation shield. But again, some of the other models have trended this quite a bit farther north and quite a bit stronger, and was something we'll keep an eye on. And if we look at the snowfall over the next 7 days from the GFS, this was the midnight run, now beginning to show that potential system coming in from the west. And if we look at the Canadian, you can see the Canadian has a lot of very heavy snow. You can see 22 inches at Cadillac, 17 at Houghton Lake. The Grayling and Gaylord area, significant snow. It has a lot of that heavy snow across northern Michigan, with about 5 inches in Alma and about 9 inches in Mount Pleasant. But you can see where the European model is when in the side, this dashed line box here. This is where it has about 6 to 12 inches of snow all the way from southern lower Michigan up into about the Houghton Lake area. So again, the Canadian is furthest north, the GFS is further south, and the European is right about in the middle. So you can see all the models now beginning to show this storm. So something we're going to keep a close eye on here through the next several days here as we approach next week. The forecast today, highs in the upper 30s, settling into the mid 30s next couple of days, more in the way of sunshine. Could see some flurries here this morning. And then for St. Patty's Day, looks like we're going to have temperatures in the low 40s with lots of sunshine, so it should be a nice day. And temperatures again in the mid 40s as we get in Sunday. And again, we'll keep an eye on that storm for later on next week, but right now it's still plenty of ways off to get too excited about it. On Weather Watch this morning, you can see winter weather advisories, winter storm warnings, downwind from Lake Erie and Lake Ontario, fire weather warnings off to the southwest. And again, nothing for the Great Lakes right now, but that may change as we get into next week. Until then, looks like some really nice weather coming up over the next 5 days. Thanks for stopping by, and have yourself a great day, and 73s to all.